What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Magne F. And we're returning to his 2024 album, Living With Ourselves, and the next track is White Horses, which is certainly very visually descriptive. I feel like white horses, I don't know the exact breakdown of different types of horses or different coat types, but I feel like pure white horses are probably a minority, probably pretty rare, and thus they have, at least as my mind imagines them, a more fantasy or almost unicorn type of appearance. I do wonder whether we're talking about actual horses or using the concept of white horses as a metaphor of some kind, though having said that, on the surface of it, I can't really think what type of figurative meaning that would be. Given Mag's songwriting tendencies, I wonder whether there could be a sort of multi-layered or nuanced meaning so that it might seem something pure or pristine or natural, but then have some twist or darker underbelly to it. I'll see what I can pick up on a first listen. This is Magne F. The track is White Horses, and it's from his 2024 album, Living With Ourselves.
From the open sea, what sound choices always set you free. White horses ride home to me. Worried where things may lead. The strong forces are leading you back to me. On white horses, what's hard to foresee. To disagree. White horses ride home to me. As every revelation turns to reverie, we will try to rediscover
Sounds of the Sea opening and concluding the tune. And we did hear a reference to white horses, was it roaming in the sea? So it makes me think of horses running in the surf, which is very much something that you often see in both, let's say, creative fiction, but also a friend of mine once went to Ireland and they told me that there's like horse riding tours you can take where part of it you go through the surf, you ride horses through the surf, so my brain goes to that type of imagery, but it almost seemed like Max was suggesting, roaming the sea, like out, beyond the shore, which I know there are seahorses, but obviously the idea of land-based horses being out in the sea is sort of this fantastical image. So yeah, it feels like, what was one of the lines? Something about white horses and there's like sad choices, and that maybe choices that were difficult emotionally had to be made, or at least they were made, and that led to a separation or a alteration of trajectory. But then talking about riding the white horses back to me and making, like, restoring their trajectory, so it feels like this all could be metaphors for a relationship, which again, whether I'm listening to, Savoy or Mags, I'm increasingly conscious of the possibility that this could be commentary about Mags and Paul, or at least Aha as a group, and maybe going different directions, trying to reconvene and get that relationship working again. But either way, it sounds like there is some type of metaphor for people's lives drifting apart and maybe returning back to a similar connection and restoring what they had previously. But then there was also, what was it, like black? I don't know if it was black horses, but black forces maybe. And that suggested, as a contrast of the white horses, black forces suggest something that's dark and maybe negative or separating. And then there was another line, which of course now in the moment I'm blanking on. But yes, it feels like there must be some metaphorical or figurative meaning, meaning operating on multiple levels here, like a visual metaphor for something that's more emotional or related to long stretches of time and people's connections or lack thereof. Nevertheless, we get a mixture of electronic sounds, especially that synth bass, which for a while was sort of not necessarily trilling, but it had this like A B, like back and forth, almost like helicopter kind of feel to it, mixed with this guitar that almost has this country, rural, laid-back style. So in a way it seemed to fuse two different aspects of Mag's work, the more keyboard or electronic sounding component of his work, and also the laid-back acoustic guitar, almost like country style tunes that I've heard him do over the course of his solo catalog. So yeah, I like the fusion of those two elements. I do believe we heard some auto-tune once again. I don't think it overpowered the tune. It didn't stand out the whole time, but there were a couple lines where you could hear that like kind of weird tonal bend that it does. And yeah, ultimately I enjoy the mellow atmosphere of the track. It does sound like there's some heavier emotion involved, but if there's lines about restoring trajectory and people riding back to you, then it feels like maybe there is some hope and optimism there. So as it seems, as with a lot of his other songs, there feels like an emotional spectrum. He's not just acknowledging all bad things or all good things, but talking about the dynamic and complicated nature of being an emotional human and existing in enough years for you to experience all sorts of ups and downs and coming togethers and separation and the gamut of human experience, I guess I would say. So again, it feels very much in his territory, both sonically and lyrically. Curious to hear what people have to say about this one, because again, I caught some lyrics, but there's some other lines that in the moment are escaping me. So let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.